Here we go. So today is May 9th. It's going to be a quiz day. We're going to take a quiz over what our opener looks like using the MA method and the area model to factor. So there are 5 steps that we're going to need to do in order to complete using the MA method and the model in order to factor. Step 1 says determine what our M is and what our A is. Raise your hand if you can tell me how to find the M and the A. Deja.
You got multiply 4 and 9.
So for the M, you're going to take the first coefficient times the third coefficient and get,
36.
okay? And then for your A is your second coefficient. So that's step 1. Step 2 is find what you can multiply together to get your M, then add together to get your A. So anybody but Deja, what can you multiply together to get 36, but add together to get 12? The same 2 numbers. 6 and 6. So if you look at your blue factor sheet and you look at 36 and you look at the factors under there, you can decide which of those you can multiply and get 36 and use those same 2 numbers to get 12. Do you hear that one, Kaylin? Mm-hmm. That's where it was. Now, that takes us to step 3. Step 3 says take the numbers that we found from our M and A and put them in the upper right hand and bottom left hand boxes for our area model. So that means, well, 6 and 6, we usually put the smaller numbers on the top right and the bigger numbers on the bottom left. Well, 6 and 6 are the same. So I'm going to put 6 top right, 6 bottom left. Now remember, this makes up my second term, my 12e, right? So 6 plus 6 equals my 12e. So that's this area split. So what variable needs to go with those 2 numbers? E. So I'm going to go ahead and put those in. Okay, the rest of step 3 tells us to continue filling out the area of each rectangle. So what's the area of my first rectangle? 4e squared. And remember, we put area on the bottom here. And then what's the area of my bottom right rectangle? Okay, now the next part of our notes is step 4. Step 4 says, using the greatest common factor, factor the top row of our area model. So we're going to factor this top row here. We're going to find what is the greatest common factor for 4 and 6. There's 2 ways, again, that you can do this. The first way is that you can go ahead and you can do your factor tree. What number does 4 and 6 both share? 2. Or you can just think, what's the largest number that 4 and 6 are both divisible by? So where does this 2 go? My greatest common factor for my top row is 2. It goes for my top height. What else needs to go with that 2? That variable e, because they both share an e. So because it's my height, I'm going to go ahead and put height times something to get to my width. So my top row of my area model is almost filled out. I know the area of each rectangle, and I know the height of each rectangle for the top. So now I need to determine what each width is. So I think to myself, 2e times what gets me to 4e squared? Okay, so if I take 2e times 2, I'll get 4e. So it needs to be an e. Good. So the width of my first rectangle is 2e, so I'm going to label it. If that's the width up here, it's also the width down below, so I'm going to go ahead and just bring that on down. 2e times what gets me to 6e for my second width? 3. So that's the width up here. If that's the width up here, it's also... So my top row is filled out. So now I look at my bottom row. What am I missing on my bottom row? The what? Well, I have the width because the height. Height times width equals area. So what times 2e will get me to 6e?
3.
And if I plug in 3 times 3, will that equal 9?
Yes.
Yeah, so that works out. So my height is
3.
Okay. Almost done here. Now I'm ready to write my final answer. Now, I know these first 3 terms is area because there's no parentheses. So remember, the area of a rectangle is area equals height times width. So area equals, what's my height? What's my height? What's my other height?
3.
Plus 3 times my width. And that's your answer.